all problems can be solved. And I hate to say that because we specialize in problem solving here. I consider myself pretty good at it, but I realize that sometimes, no matter what you do, how logical you are, how fair, how rational, not going to happen. One name, Putin. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So today, the Trump negotiator, Steve Witkoff, in Moscow, talking to Vladimir Putin. There was a picture on the AP, Putin smiling, and they're talking about stopping the Ukrainian war, which is one of the biggest disasters in modern history, 3.5 years. About 1 million Russian soldiers killed or wounded, about 400,000 Ukrainians, same. But it's the civilians, because Putin is targeting them with drones and bombings and all of that. And so he has been named a war criminal by the International Criminal Court in The Hague, that's in the Netherlands. Okay, this is only the third time in history that the leader of a nation has been designated a war criminal. So Putin can't go anywhere because there's arrest warrant out for him. He's got to stay in Russia. He's the richest man in the world, as you will see if you read my upcoming book, Confronting Evil, out September 9th. We go into Putin in great detail. But anyway, Donald Trump, President of the United States, trying to get this Ukraine thing under control, and Putin won't cooperate. So what do you do? What do you do? It's almost like Japan at the end of World War II. So this is the anniversary of the atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Japanese knew they lost the war. They couldn't possibly win the war. Tokyo had been firebombed. Millions of Japanese were killed, but they wouldn't surrender. And they kept fighting. And the United States didn't want to invade the island because I would say hundreds of thousands of U.S. soldiers and sailors would have been killed, including my father, who was on the way to Japan. We write about that in Killing the Rising Sun. So Harry Truman, the president, had to drop the atom bombs, and then finally, facing absolute destruction of the entire country, the Japanese surrendered. Well, Putin is not going to surrender. So I don't expect that these peace talks today are going to move the ball. I hope they do. I hope I'm wrong. And then Donald Trump's going to have to slap onerous tariffs and economic sanctions against Russia, which he should have done a while back, in my opinion. Now, I don't want to second guess, but it was clear. Because remember that Donald Trump thought he had Putin in a place where he could be rational with him. Because the first 4 years of the Trump administration, Putin kind of laid back. But no, not now. So we do expect that these sanctions, which will cripple the Russian economy, but here's the kicker. Putin doesn't care. Doesn't care if his people die. He's lost 1 million people, killed or wounded in Ukraine for what? Does Russia need Ukraine? No. Doesn't need it. Doesn't give them anything. In fact, if they take it over by force, there'll be ongoing guerrilla war there. Ukrainians don't want to be Russians. Okay, so Putin doesn't care. Starve his people, okay. And the only thing that could really turn it fast is China. And when I was over in Beijing in May, we talked about Putin and how China is helping Putin and Russia wage this war. North Korea doesn't matter. North Korea's got a few troops in there, but they don't matter. China matters. China's buying lots of oil from Russia. So is India. And it's propping up Putin. He's still got cash coming in. You got to strangle all the cash. So I would expect that Donald Trump, if he goes to Beijing, and I think he will, early fall, late summer, will tie in some kind of deal with China to pull back from Putin. That happens, then we're in, Vlad's in real deep you know what. Okay? And that's, so at least there's some kind of hope here. But again, in my original statement that, we can't solve all problems, sometimes you've got to kill these people. And, if Putin was assassinated, that'd be good for the world. I hate to say it, but it's true. That's the best thing that could happen. Somebody take him out. In fact, Putin can't even go anywhere. When Putin goes home, he lives about 7 miles outside of Moscow in his huge palace. All traffic stops around Moscow. Nobody can move. Well, his little motorcade comes out. In his Dhaka on the Black Sea, he's got submarines. And he's got a bunker underneath the Dhaka where radioactivity couldn't penetrate. So if there's a nuclear war, Putin will survive. Nobody else will. Okay, so that's where we are. We're watching it, an amazingly important story, and that is the memo. All right, back here, Donald Trump announced that Apple's going to invest another $100 billion in the U.S. economy. That brings it up to $600 billion. Apple CEO Tim Cook in D.C., they were buddies, Trump and Cook, and all this is good. But I was on Hannity Radio today, and it's on BillO'Reilly.com if you want to listen to it. It's going to take a while for all this tariff stuff and all these deals to play out. In the meantime, working Americans, many of them, are suffering, continue to suffer because of Biden's disastrous inflationary profile. And, what really hurts, and I told Hannity this, Hannity's very theoretical on the long term, and he's correct. That, Trump has changed the economy so that we are now getting back to manufacturing, which will provide more jobs and higher paying jobs down the road. But Americans are an impatient people. We want relief now. These insurance rates, whoa, they're killing it. Government's got to take a look at that. Okay, if they can spend $100 million on Geico commercials, or, Pat Mahomes and everybody else, and Liberty, 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 if they can spend all that money advertising and they're gouging us, I think we got to take a look at it. I believe in capitalism, but come on. So that's killing people. And the other thing that's hurting is medical expenses for senior citizens. I mean, these prescription drugs through the roof. Now, if you didn't protect yourself and you don't have good medical insurance, you're host. You're going to take all your money. And again, the government's got to go in and see if it can mitigate some of that. So we got about 6 months before the American people are going to have to really lock in about, is Trump doing a good job on the economy? I'm not sure that the Apple investment and all those other things are going to pay off that quickly. So that's the dilemma, because the midterms are coming up fast. And we're going to report on it honestly, as we always do. India, they're helping Russia too. And Trump slapped on 50% tariffs on that country. They'll make a deal. India can't survive that. Okay, so that'll happen. Just like Canada and Mexico are going to make deals. Gaza, hopeless. Sorry, hopeless. Hamas is not going to release the hostages. And until they do, there's not going to be any deal or any ceasefire or anything meaningful. It's just not going to happen. So I blame it on Hamas. I know many of you blame it on Israel. I got it. The casualties are horrific. You cannot count on any honest reporting coming out of Gaza because both the Israelis and the Hamas terrorists aren't going to tell you the truth. They're not. Okay, so I'm not even going to give you the numbers, but they're horrific. And Hamas started. There's no doubt about that. Now, here in the USA, 70% of all religion-based hate crimes, see, there's race hate crimes, religion hate crimes. The FBI keeps the stats. 70% of all the religion-based hate crimes are against Jews. All right, so there were 11,679 total hate crime incidents in 2024. 15% religiously motivated, 70% targeted Jewish individuals or institutions. But I don't really get this, okay? Because I grew up with lots of Jewish kids in Levittown, and a lot of my business associations are Jewish. And I don't know why anybody would not like them. I like them. I don't know why anybody wouldn't like them. Do I like Netanyahu? No. I don't particularly like him. I think he could be a lot more rational. But that's a political opinion, not an assessment of a whole race of people. Now, the Jewish people probably have been the most persecuted human beings in the history of mankind. Right? I think so. So they're a minority, and they're getting, the jihadists want to kill them, every one of them. Hitler wanted to kill every one of them. Stalin wanted to kill them all. Jeez. So the United States usually rallies to helping the underdogs. But in this case, I don't like that number at all. If you are handling your own books or relying on a bookkeeper, it could lead to inaccuracies, missed deductions, and cash flow blind spots. FYSI's team of seasoned accounting professionals, corporate and tax attorneys manage every journal entry, bank reconciliation, and month-end close with precision, delivering clear, timely financial reports. They incorporated advanced tax avoidance strategies into your bookkeeping to capture deductions before you file. And they connect you with industry leaders and referral partners for growth opportunities. Set up your free consultation to learn how FYSI's experts can transform your books into a growth engine and accelerate your business to the next level. Act now to claim your free $5,000 business assessment, available for a limited time. Please go to FYSI.com/Bill. Use promo BILL, or you can call 800-877-4000 today. Joining us now from Washington is Jen Pellegrino, the chief spokesperson for America First Policy Institute, AFPI. She used to be an intern on the O'Reilly Factor. Look, another success story, Jen. You see?
That's right, Bill. Listen, I was a college student watching your program, thanks to my mom and dad who were loyal followers. And it was unusual back then to be of that. It still is now on some college campuses, but I think things are changing, especially with this president. So it's great to be back with you and to be able to talk about this today.
Well, look, I always tell everybody, you get through me, whether you're an intern or producer or whatever. It's like the Navy SEALs. I mean, you got sure O'Reilly Factor on your resume or No Spin News. People know that you can do the job because we don't fool around. All right, first of all, tell me exactly what America First Policy Institute is.
Well, we stand for policies, very simply, Bill, that put the American people first. It's all getting back to common sense, regardless of what side of the political aisle you're on. Looking at policies that are fair. When you speak about our college campuses, having diverse viewpoints. When you look at what's going on in sports, making sure men are men and women are women, and there aren't men in women's locker rooms. Things that I think a lot of people can understand and get on board with when it comes to securing our borders, issues that were top priority in our election. Things of that nature are what the America First Policy Institute focuses on. And we're bringing on board a lot of people who may say, you know what, I'm not maybe following a certain president or somebody, but I can get on board with some of these policies. And we find that overwhelmingly, even 100 days into this administration, the majority of Americans are in support of those policies.
Would you say you're conservative?
I wouldn't say we're conservative or liberal. I say we're in the middle, somewhere in the range of common sense.
All right. So you got Kudlow, does economics for you. Brooke Rollins, they're both conservatives. I don't see any liberals on a sheet, Jen. So I'm going to assume that AFPI leans right. Now, did you guys endorse Donald Trump?
We do not endorse a candidate or a nonprofit C3 institution, so we don't endorse candidates.
Okay.
We're here to support those that advance America First policies.
Why don't you put out your donor list?
Well, Bill, that's something that our development team holds secure. We don't put that out. We don't take money from corporations. I will tell you that. There are other institutions in this town that do. We only take from private donors, so we keep that secure and private to those individuals.
All right, but you might have a discussion about that. All right, now, how would you assess the nation's colleges? Because I get tons of letters from very worried parents and grandparents who are sending their high schoolers to college and they think they're going to get indoctrinated. And I have to say, it's a legitimate concern. My old college, Marist in Poughkeepsie, New York, used to be a working class school, all right, that didn't have an ideology. Then it went woke. And I'm going, what? What? How do you assess it? Is it 75% woke or 50-50? What is it?
You know, I couldn't put a number on it, Bill, but I would say it's probably happening on most college campuses around this country. I went to school in the South, University of South Carolina. Not as big of an issue as some universities like Cornell or Harvard when it comes to the balance of voices. But I think, you know, there's a level of it in just about every college campus right now. And I think it is something very concerning to parents, to students that are looking at colleges saying, you know, what am I going to be dealing with it? You know, if I'm of Jewish background, am I going to feel safe going to my classes? Is there going to be an issue if I wear a MAGA hat to one of my classes? So I think there needs to be more balance in viewpoints and conversations and allowing debate, which hasn't been going on for some time, much like we've seen, as you outlined in the media.
Does your organization have a list of colleges that it likes, that if somebody calls you and says, gee, you know, what is the America First Policy Institute? Do they have schools that they, you know, say are doing a good job in this area?
I think there are some institutions that are doing better than others. I will say, you know, we've looked at universities like Cornell, who have obviously had some, you know, DEI practices that continue to this day. We issued a formal complaint asking for the federal government to investigate some of the work that they've done illegally in terms of, you know,
give me one example
for certain hiring.
Give me one example about Cornell. What are they doing wrong?
So Cornell, one example, $50,000 incentive for hiring of a certain racial background with their medical degree.
Who gets the $50K?
Wanting to bring on faculty with a certain racial background, 50 grand.
Who gets the $50K?
The person who referred them.
So if I refer Juan Williams to Cornell and he gets hired, I get $50,000?
If you work for the university.
Oh, you have to work for the university. Because I'd send Juan up there in a heartbeat for $50K. I mean, he could just get right on a train and go to Cornell. Okay, so that's pretty outrageous. And Harvard, my alma mater, you know, I have a master's degree. They have 72% hiring of liberals, professors. I think it's even higher than that now. But it's outrageous. I mean, how they stack the deck against the student. Now, last question for you. If anybody wants to help the America First Policy Institute, they can go to your website and they can see what's going on. Do you believe that your pressure, okay, has led to anything positive? I mean, you know, or is it all Trump? See, Trump is the guy that's hammering these schools, particularly Harvard. It's a blood feud. But you're not quite as militant as Trump. But have you changed any minds?
I think we have, Bill. I would say that we're very much in alignment with the president, again, being the America First Policy Institute. America First is something this president speaks about a lot. A lot of that work that we did prior to the election and handed over to the campaign, a lot of that work has been implemented now in what the president has done. So we provide a lot of guidance, suggestion, research for the administration, and they take and put that into place. So credit is due to this administration, not to us. We're just some of the brains and experts behind the scenes here.
All right, Jen, very good. I'm glad we could, in a small way, contribute to your success, and I hope we can talk again soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
If you are stressed about back taxes and maybe missed the April deadline or your books are a mess, act now. Because the IRS is cracking down and penalties are up to 25% just for not filing. Tax Network USA has helped thousands of Americans lift that burden. And they can help you, whether you are an employee, small business owner, or haven't filed in years. They have seen it all and know exactly how to clean it up. Tax Network USA's expert negotiators have direct access to powerful IRS programs, and they know how to win. You'll get a free consultation, and if you qualify, they will help you reduce or eliminate what you owe. Plus, they'll protect you from wage garnishments and bank levies. So please don't wait. 800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/bill. That's tnusa.com/bill. Our healthcare system is a mess, you know that. You wait weeks for a doctor's appointment, get 5 minutes there, then face delays, insurance, red tape. It's slow, frustrating, and it's why All Family Pharmacy stands out in the madness. All Family Pharmacy believes in medical freedom, meaning you decide what works for your health, not some agency or insurance company. Ordering is simple. No waiting rooms, pharmacy lines. Just go online, place your order, and get medications delivered right to your door. They offer 200 medications, including ivermectin and antibiotics, plus emergency kits, customized orders, even bulk buys. More than 100,000 Americans already trust All Family Pharmacy. It's time you check them out. So please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/bill. Use promo code BILL10 for 10% off. Take your health into your own hands. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/bill, code BILL10. Okay, final thought of the day, Kamala Harris. I was wrong. I thought she'd run for governor of California. I think she would have won if she had done that. And I was surprised. I said, well, you know, it's a fairly young woman. Why do you not, if you believe in yourself and you believe that your ideas are good for the folks, why do you want to sit it out? It's like nothing else there. I mean, maybe she'll be appointed something if there's a Democrat wins next time around. But anyway, I was wrong. She says she's not going to run for governor of California. Now, why not? If you watch the YouTube analysis, okay, that I'm going to do on Colbert and Kamala, it is clear that this woman has no self-confidence at all. That's why she can't speak. She's not dumb. I mean, that's not it. She just doesn't have any, and she doesn't want to be in a situation where she is under scrutiny. She doesn't want that. And I think that overrides her political ambitions. I'm playing amateur psychiatrist here, I know, but I'm looking at the landscape, and she got 76 million votes, something like that. Trump got 80. You hang it up? So it's got to be personal. That's my assessment. And then she was asked about who the leader of the Democratic Party was by Colbert. Now, there is no leader. We all know that. I mean, if there was, then everybody would be covering that person. A bunch of people who want to be the leader of the Democratic Party. You got Wes Moore in Maryland, he's the governor there. The governor of Kentucky, Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, Gavin Newsom, who's the most ambitious of all of them. You got the governor of Illinois. You got a lot of these guys, and they're all going to kind of figure it out. Got to raise a lot of money, and, there is going to be a change in the Democratic Party. And the party can't continue to be radical left. It can't. the American people have basically sent a message that we don't want this madness. We don't. And unless the Democratic Party goes back into the middle, it's just going to lose every election. People are worried about their midterms. Republicans are worried about the midterms. And I know the Trump administration is worried about it too, because if Democrats control either the Senate or the House, and Trump's going to have a lot of trouble getting his agenda passed. And that's not going to be ideology. That's going to be the economy. Okay? And that will settle in December. So we're not going to know. I don't know whether the tariffs are going to work. Whether employment, we had a bad employment report. Now Trump wants to replace the Labor Department. Okay, I don't know. I don't. How could I possibly know? All right, but there's a good chance that all of this investment from the tariffs and all of these companies coming back will ignite a stronger economy. There's a good chance. If you bet against that, I mean, I don't know. But that is going to tell a tale in the midterms. It's not going to be ideology. It's going to be economy. And because Americans are worried. As I said, we got millions of people, senior citizens, who don't have enough money to pay for 1 hour with an attorney. My God. So these people are like this. But from my vantage point, I'm seeing a potential for a real economic run by the USA. China is the key, and I'm all over that. Watching that every day. Okay, so I hope the makeup and hair wasn't too bad today. If it was, you let me know. I'm going to have to do something about it. It's always something. As Rosanna Dano once said. Thank you for watching the No Spin News and listening on our radio stations across the country. And we'll see you Monday. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.